Hi, this is JP Morgan for Shutterbug. Today I'm out here in Santa Monica, location number 1 of 5 locations where we're going to talk about 5 reasons a telephoto lens is a really good choice for landscape photography. You might say to yourself, why is JP Morgan doing a lesson for Shutterbug? Well, that's because I want to introduce to you, the followers of Shutterbug, all of the things that we do here at the Slanted Lens. And hopefully when you see this lesson, you'll say, hey, I want to follow the Slanted Lens, and you'll get over to that Slanted Lens and you'll follow us there. I'm going to be shooting most of the things we're doing today on the new Tamron 70 to 210 millimeter f4 lens. It just came out. This is a great entry point telephoto lens for those of you who want to get in, get your feet wet, and be able to have a telephoto lens that's reasonably priced to allow you to get some fabulous shots. So most everything you see here in this lesson, not everything, but most everything, has been shot on this 70 to 210 millimeter lens from Tamron. So let's get started. 5 reasons you should use a telephoto lens when you're doing landscapes. Well, number 1 is the fact that a telephoto lens compresses the scene. It brings the background forward and compresses it with the foreground, making the objects in the background larger. Longer the telephoto, the larger the objects in the background. This is nowhere exemplified any better than a moon or a sun. The moon is way out there. With a wide-angle lens, it pushes it further away. With a telephoto lens, it's going to bring it forward and it's going to compress it with the foreground. So it gives us the ability to compress our scene and see that large moon or that large sun. So today I'm out here at Santa Monica Pier. I'm going to shoot the sun going down behind the pier because I want to make it larger in the frame than I would ever get with a wide-angle lens. One other principle I want to make sure I mention before we get going is when you put a telephoto lens on a tripod, make sure you turn the VC, the vibration control, or the image stabilization off on the lens. Because the lens is going to be trying to stabilize something that doesn't need to be stabilized because it's on a tripod. Now when you pick it up and hand hold it, make sure you turn the image stabilization of the VC on because that's when you're going to want that VC to be able to stabilize it when it's in your hand. So the sun died, went right behind the clouds. I got no sun, no big sun. Let's take a look at the best I shot today and some other examples I've shot in the past to illustrate this principle. Location number 2, I'm up here at Shell Beach, just above Pismo Beach. And this is a great place to illustrate the point that sometimes there are things you just can't get out to. But a telephoto lens allows you to reach out and to frame things that are a long ways away from you and to get a great landscape shot. And that way it becomes an excellent landscape lens. A long telephoto allows me to frame things that are just too far away to do any other way. Here I've got birds out on the rocks that are way out in the ocean there. The sun is going to give me a nice sunset, I think, behind them. I can't get out there, I don't have a boat, but I can isolate that with a telephoto, get a beautiful sunset with the rock out there, the birds on it. So there you go, you can isolate a subject that's a long ways away. Number 3, we can get great images by reducing the area of view with a telephoto lens. Get rid of the things you don't want to see. I've got a freeway down here, I've got a great set of mountains behind me, I'm waiting for the clouds to break up so I get some shots of the mountains. I don't want to see the freeway, I don't want to be on a wide lens and see this entire valley. I want to crop in, get past that freeway and get into the things I really want to see. I'm freezing out here, it must be 60 degrees. What am I, from California? Yes, I am. Location number 4, tip number 4. The same spot is going to have many different compositions when you're using a telephoto lens because you can look different directions and isolate different parts of the scenery that's around you. I can look out towards the ocean here, I can see that arch. I really want to see that arch as the sun goes down. I'm going to look back towards the pier, I'll be able to shoot some shots there. I've got the moon coming up over the palm trees behind me. But with that 70 to 210, it gives me the ability to reach out, get some nice compositions to frame those up and to shoot all around me. 360, there's all kinds of great stuff going on here. In fact, I even shot a guy flying his kite over top of his house. No, from the top of his house, as bizarre as that was. So I'm going to get to it here, see what I can get before the sun goes down. Tip number 5, location number 5. I've been shooting in the mountains up here above Santa Barbara, and I've gotten a great sunset, very subtle sunset. Wasn't extremely overwhelming by any means, but I got some really great images. That telephoto lens takes and gives you a very interesting perspective. It's not a deep perspective like a wide-angle lens. It's a very flat perspective, but a flat perspective that has layers and depth. So when you shoot with a telephoto lens, it gives your images a different look when you're doing landscape that most people are not used to seeing, and in that way makes them stand out. It gives you those layers that kind of cut across the frame or roll into the frame from the sides. It doesn't roll underneath the camera like a wide-angle lens. It's just flat to the camera as you layer it up, as you look back into the mountains, into the trees, the things you're photographing. So a very, very interesting perspective. So this has been JP Morgan from the Slanted Lens giving you 5 tips on how a telephoto lens will help improve your landscape photography. Thank you, Shutterbug, and check out the slanted lens. Make sure you subscribe to both of them. Keep those cameras rolling and keep on clicking.